The year is 1917 and the First World War is raging on. The Russian military was being beaten time and again by the German military. Tsar Nicholas II had personal command of the army, effectively tying his reputation with the Russian people to the outcome of the war. Meanwhile, in the home country, the Russian people were already becoming more and more restless with the Tsar and his mismanagement of the country. The Tsar, with the goal of keeping his supreme power, had dissolved the Duma numerous times. The Duma was the Russian parliament. There was food and shell shortage, prohibition, and as the Tsar was away from the military, his wife, who was German, became the face of leadership in the Russian palace. Now the people were feeling politically repressed, hungry, angry at the outcome of the war so far, and their leader was essentially the enemy, a German. The final straw for the Russian people was the poor handling of World War I. The army was not equipped nor trained well enough to be an effective adversary against the Germans. This caused arguments to break out on how Russia wanted to end the war. Different political parties had different opinions. The Tsar and his supporters wanted a victory while retaining the aristocracy. Liberals wanted a victory with a democratized Russia. Pacifists wanted peace at any cost. Social revolutionaries wanted peace but were willing to defend against the Germans. And finally, the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks wanted peace without indemnities or annexations. By the summer of 1917, the majority of the Russian people would come to agree with the Bolshevik views.
Wait, I need that bread to feed my family.
So do I. Is there any more?
Sorry, there's none left.
But I've been waiting for hours.
It's not my fault.
I need the bread.
Tensions were building in Russia. The Tsar was trying to keep power. Women had to stand in lines all day waiting for their food rations instead of being able to work. Women in the Petrograd began rioting, and the army was sent in to fire upon the protesters. But they refused, and even some joined in the protest due to their dissatisfaction with Nicholas II's government. These were the Bread Riots.
Taking into consideration all of the riots that have been going on in the past few days, I have decided to dissolve the Duma and take full control of Russia.
February 27th, the Tsar dissolved the Duma. On one side, a provisional government was formed, consisting of the Cadets and the Octoberists. The Cadets were constitutional Democrats, and the Octoberists were moderate conservatives.
I represent the peasants. We won't continue to let the Tsar oppress us like this. We'll have to rule it ourselves.
We don't need the Tsar either. The provisional government can leave Russia.
On the other side, the Petrograd Soviet, serving as the Workers' Council. These consisted of the Mensheviks, moderate socialists, and the Bolsheviks, radical socialists. These political entities shared dual power, but only for a short time. On March 1st, the Petrograd Soviet issued Order Number 1. This order stated the military was to follow instructions from the provisional government only when those orders were supported by the Petrograd Soviet.
What's this?
This is order number 1 sent from the Petrograd Soviet.
We just lost control of the military. This changes everything.
Soldiers and sailors were now under dual control. They were also considered soldiers when on duty, but citizens when they were off duty. This effectively made commanders and their subordinates the same rank when they were both off duty. This order was also important because it effectively made the Petrograd Soviet above the provisional government, which would have lasting effects for the rest of the revolution. The chiefs of the army and the ministers who were still loyal to the Tsar advised him to abdicate the throne. As a result, on March 2nd, the Tsarist monarchy came to an end.
Taking into consideration the opinion of my army officers, I have decided to abdicate the Russian throne and I want to offer you the crown. If you don't accept this, the Russian monarchy will collapse.
I'm sorry, brother, but I want no part of this troubled nation.
Nicholas II abdicated the throne and offered it to his brother Michael, but Michael refused. If Michael had taken the throne, it would have been the end of the revolution, as Russia would have been democratized and the monarchy would have survived. The end of the monarchy opened a path for the Provisional Government and the Petrograd Soviet to be the supreme rulers of Russia.
After the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II, the Provisional Government was reorganized numerous times, but was never able to retain power. In April 1917, Foreign Minister Pavel Milyukov sent the Allied powers a telegram, which stated the Provisional Government would continue the war with the intent of victory following the Tsarist war aims. The leaking of this telegram bolstered the support for the Bolsheviks and the Petrograd Soviet government, effectively placing the Petrograd even more in power. On November 6th and 7th, 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by their leader Vladimir Lenin, launched a coup against the Provisional Government. The Bolsheviks gained power of the palace and set up their own form of government, with Lenin in charge. Under Lenin's dictatorship, the Bolshevik government ended the war with Germany with great successions. The Russian Civil War that followed was even bloodier than World War I, as 8 million people, a majority of whom were citizens, had died in the Civil War, while 2 million had died in World War I. By the early 1920s, the opposition to the Bolsheviks had been defeated, and the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics was established.